Like Carolyn, I lost my mother in the 80s as well, and so I've been without her for 20 years. And when I started thinking about tonight, I was at a loss. I didn't know what to write. 20 years is a long time, and the older you get, I think the memories fade even more. So I struggled and struggled and struggled. I had pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages and pages. And I just kept cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. So what I'm going to read tonight is actually very brief, and I hope you enjoy it. I called it Walking in My Mother's Shoes. It seemed appropriate. When I volunteered to read at this event, I wanted to present a piece related to the theme, Walking in My Mother's Shoes. That seemed simple enough until I sat down to write. Both the blank page and the empty computer screen stared back as mute reflections. Our lives have not mirrored each other's, my mother's and mine. So how could I talk about walking in Mom's shoes? Besides, my mother could walk in 4-inch spike heels. Not me. I walk in flats. My mother and her siblings lived through the Depression. Winter coats were made out of blankets, and toys created from whatever they could find around the house. For my part, I grew up with new clothes for every season, and all the toys a child could ever want. Maybe it was going through those tough times that developed some of Mom's innate skills. When I was much older, she shared her unrealized dream of owning and running a fashion or a catering business. And she could have done it. She was very talented. But like many of her generation, she had opted for a career as a housewife and mother. She remained a housewife, a stay-at-home mom, and a community event organizer until my father's death when I was 15. Then she went back to work. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. Compared to my mother, I've worked full-time my entire life while maintaining a home, being a stepmother, and for a few years owning and operating a business with my late husband. So, how could I talk about walking in my mother's shoes? I continued to ask myself that question, and then it came to me. As a child, I loved to write and draw. My parents responded to these interests with gifts of John Nagy Learn to Draw and paint by number sets. You probably don't even know what those are, you guys, but that was the thing when I was a kid. They didn't discourage the activity, but they neither encouraged me either, because neither one of them had really creative leanings. So when I went to high school, although I thought of taking art class, that's not what happened. I had a strict academic curriculum for my entire high school experience. My parents did support my plan, though, to study journalism, but when my dad died, my belief in my ability to express myself creatively passed away with him. My mother didn't see my dreams shriveling before me. When I spoke of what I wanted to achieve in my life, she would not so much encourage me as bring some point of reality into the discussion. Don't dream too big, she might say, or you may fall hard when things don't work out. Adjusting to life as a single mother, she didn't push me like my father would have done, and I finally chose an easier career path. Unfortunately, like my mother, I locked my dreams away for years. I followed other paths, never feeling really fulfilled. More times than I can remember, I've reflected on my mother's walk and attempted to learn from it and adjust my life direction and focus so that I could work towards achieving my abandoned dreams. Over and over again, I've set off on a new path, only to discover I was wearing the wrong footwear for the journey. A wall of doubt would rise up before me, and I would be stopped in my tracks. But the exercise of writing this piece for tonight has given me new understanding. Even though I thought I wasn't walking in my mother's shoes, I was. This is how I learned what worked and what didn't work for me. I kept those shoes on until one day, very recently, they just felt too tight. They were cramping my toes. It was time to step out of my mother's shoes and into my own. Those new shoes of mine appeared when love unexpectedly entered my life again a few short months ago. With the encouragement and support of my new partner, I began to write and paint, and I am, for the first time in my life, feeling truly fulfilled. I don't regret the time I spent walking in Mom's shoes. All those years of following other paths, of avoiding trying on my own shoes, have made me rich in experience. They've made me the person I've become. Now, when I think about walking in my mother's shoes, it's not so much about the actual walking as it is about learning from her walk, examining the wear marks on her shoes, learning what fit, what didn't, and then finding the right shoes for me. No, my life hasn't mirrored my mother's. It was never meant to do that. Her walk and her life taught me about me. That's what our mother's shoes do for us. So in closing, here's what I hope for each one of you. May you each discover the gifts in your mother's shoes, the love in each scuff mark, the tears in each tear, the patience in each well-worn sole, the resilience in each broken and retied lace. And from that learning, may you step into your perfect shoes and walk before your children, leaving gentle footprints on their hearts. Thank you.